What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast, back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak, and we have a special guest on with us this week, former Kentucky Wildcat and NFL quarterback, as well as current Arena League quarterback for the Baltimore Brigade, our guest, 13-year pro, Shane Boyd. Shane, thanks so much for coming on.
I appreciate it, Alex. Thank you for having me, brother.
Yeah, this is awesome. You're our first quarterback on the podcast.
Oh, that's awesome, man. It ain't too many of us because usually every team only has, we obviously have one main one up on the roster, so it ain't a lot of us running around.
It's sweet to have you on, though. Thanks, man. So let's start at the beginning. So you played your high school ball at Henry Clay in Lexington, Kentucky. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What was that like? Was that a good place to play, and was there a lot of competition and talent out there?
Well, it was, especially the years that I played. We had a lot of up-and-coming guys. We had a lot of guys sign in Division I out of my city that year. We had 6 alone in my senior class go to Division I, which is usually unheard of.
Wow.
When coming from one high school. So we had a lot of talent just all throughout the city. We had other guys from other schools that went on to play at D1. We had the number 1 running back in the nation at that time. His name was Eric Shelton, and he wound up going to Florida State and then transferring to Louisville. Then he was drafted in the 2nd round by the Carolina Panthers, so he's a real good friend of mine from my city. I mean, we've had all kinds of guys that have came out of here. The last pro guy is a guy named Chase Minifield. His dad was Frank Minifield, who was an all-pro cornerback for the Cleveland Browns back in the day. He was a lockdown corner. So his son also went to Henry Clay. I had a younger brother who played at University of Kentucky as well. He was the number 1 player in the state, top of the nation as a receiver, Aaron Boyd.
Yeah.
So he went to my high school. So there's been a lot of talent that's came out of my high school alone, and even when you come in the city, people will, obviously if you're not from Henry Clay, they won't want to admit it, but we're the standard as far as sports go in our city, in the sense of, people play harder against us. People want to beat us. They want those bragging rights. Anytime they play us, it's always a great victory for them and their school. So that's why I say that we set the standard, because beating Henry Clay, if you happen to beat Henry Clay, carries a lot more weight than when you're beating other schools within the city and surrounding areas.
Nice. That's what's up. That's cool. Were you always playing football and playing quarterback, or did you play any other sports coming up?
Well, actually, coming up, I was an Army brat, so I moved around a lot. So I wasn't really able to play a lot of organized sports. Mm-hmm. The only consistent sport that I was able to play every year was baseball, and that's because it was in the summertime. So my mother would allow me to come back to Kentucky in the summer times, and then I would play, Little League baseball, Cal Ripken type stuff, baseball in the summertime. So that was the only sport that I was really able to play the most of. But I love basketball. I played only a couple years of football in Pee Wee because like I said, I was moving around. Mm-hmm. And then I really didn't start playing football again until my freshman year, when my mother allowed me to move away from her and move down here. Then I moved in with my uncle, and then that's when I started attending Henry Clay. So I didn't start really playing football until my freshman year. But the other major sport I played was baseball, like I just mentioned, and I was actually drafted high out of high school to the Minnesota Twins, and then I was a 2-sport athlete at Kentucky. So I played football and baseball at Kentucky as well, and I was drafted again out of Kentucky. So baseball is another sport that I love and I enjoy playing.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. Getting drafted twice by the Minnesota Twins. I mean, that's pretty cool. Not many people get drafted just once. You must have been a pretty good baseball player as well. What about the quarterback position in high school? Is that something you just fell in love with right away?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry, my son.
No problem.
On the interview.
Was the quarterback position something that you just fell in love with right away?
Yeah, I grew up. When you think of quarterback usually associate the word leadership with that as well. Usually majority of quarterbacks, if not all, should be the unspoken or undeniable leader of every team. I mean, you got a guy who touches the ball every play. You got a guy who has to make a decision every single play. So with someone who has an impact on every play, you know, that always intrigued me. I was always the guy, even as a kid, when something good was going on in the neighborhood, I was usually the captain of it. If something bad was going on in the neighborhood, I was usually the captain of it. So it was kind of a role that I've always, quote unquote, played the quarterback in every aspect of life. So, and it was something I was raised to be that way. My mother was a leader. My uncle, who raised me as my father figure, he was a leader in his regard. So that was just something that was in me and was in my blood. And it's also something that's filtering into my son as well. Even when he's playing with kids, he's usually always the center of everything that's going on. So
that's
kind of
cool.
a DNA type thing that's been passed on.
Yeah, it's good to have leaders. We need more of them. So, tell me a little bit about your recruitment. What was that like coming out of high school, and what led you to choose Kentucky?
The recruitment process was awesome. I mean, I anytime I'm with a kid, I advise the kid to make sure that they keep their options open, make sure they take all their visits, and enjoy the process, because it only happens once.
Mm-hmm.
I was a top player in the state, top of the nation, so I was recruited pretty hard. So I had a lot of things to sift through, a lot of people I talked to. There was always coaches at the school every week, every day, to see about me, which in turn also with the recruitment of me, it helped the recruitment of my teammates. Like I mentioned, we had 6 guys signed Division I off of one team, but a lot of it came from the attention that came from recruiting me. And then obviously when you turn on the film, people want to know, okay, who's he throwing to?
Yeah.
Okay, who's blocking for him? You know, and then all of a sudden you see some streaks on the defensive tape, and now they got a guy on defense. So that recruitment helped spill off into other players on my team and help, you know, get them recruited as well. And also my receiver wound up being, it was always funny. It was always me and him. Either I was the number 1 player in the state and he was number 2, or, you know, if he had a huge game, you know, they put him in front of me. He'd be number 1, I'd be number 2. But we always held the top spots down. And he wound up going to University of Michigan when they were ranked top in the nation. And he was a starting cornerback, punt returner. He was a guy that was on his way to being drafted in the first round until he broke his neck at Michigan, which was unfortunate. So,
oh wow,
he was a guy that wound up being a part of that momentum we had with the recruitment of me. So it was an awesome process. I wound up visiting University of Virginia, Northwestern, Kentucky, Clemson, and University of Minnesota. And a few of those visits were basically relationship visits. I wouldn't say they were schools I was really looking to go to, but I had a relationship with some people, so I wound up going there and checking the school out. And initially I committed to Clemson. I was always a Bobby Bowden fan, and his brother, the other Bowden, was the head coach at Clemson. So I figured if I couldn't go to Florida State, you know, I'd go to another Bowden. So I had committed to Clemson. I wanted to play for Rich Rodriguez, who was the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach at the time, but then he wound up leaving to go to West Virginia, his alma mater, to be the head coach. So I had a lot of great people around me that had me look down the road, you know, for life after football. You know, if you don't make it to pros, where do you want to go next? So Kentucky was the perfect fit. I mean, I'm from here. I'm a hometown guy. The city loves me. I love the city. I get a lot of support, and I knew down the road when it's all said and done, whether I made it to the pros or not, this is a place that I would want and still have my roots at. So I played in front of the home crowd. You know, Dave actually just kind of saw me grow up through the high school years. So he seen me play at Henry Clay, and then continuing on to Kentucky. You know, I got a great foundation here. So that's why I committed to the University of Kentucky, along with the momentum that was going on with Kentucky at the time. When Hal Mummy was the coach, we had Tim Couch, who had laid the foundation for the air raid and passed. You know, he was the number 1 draft pick out of Kentucky. He's a Kentucky guy as well. So there was a lot of buzz around the University of Kentucky at that time. So it was a great time. And then me and Jared Lorenzen
Nice.
were going back and forth, playing quarterback throughout the years that I was here. The big hefty lefty, Jared Lorenzen.
Yeah, and you're a dual threat quarterback at Kentucky, combining for 26 touchdowns in your career as a Wildcat, 13 passing touchdowns, 13 rushing touchdowns. Is that correct?
Yes, around there. Something I don't ever know my stats, but that sounds close, if not exact.
That's cool. Let's see. So then you go undrafted in 2005 and get signed by the Titans. What was that experience like? Were you expecting to get drafted? And what was it like joining up with the Titans?
I had a lot of draft boards that had me as a 5th to 7th round guy.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember, that was the Aaron Rodgers year, and
Oh yeah.
and I say that in the sense of when he fell. When guys fall in your position, that basically knocks everybody back down the ladder.
Yeah.
You want guys to go early. You want them to get off the board early so that you, in a sense, move up a slot, if that makes sense. So when Aaron started getting pushed back, he got pushed back to the late round, and that sends the next guy, he gets pushed back farther in the second round, and then it's just a Plinko effect that just continues to push everybody back. So, in a sense, so I wound up being a 5th and 7th round projected guy to a priority free agent. So put it like this: there are 7 rounds in football. If there was an 8th round, then I would have been drafted. But I wound up going priority free agent. What that really means is that you were basically the next guy in line. You were the next guy on everybody's board. So as soon as that last guy was picked on draft day, my phone started going crazy. So it's a matter of basically who gets through first, who makes the best offer first. And I chose the Titans. It was a great fit, close to home, but far enough away from home for people to know me, know who I am. But being in the new great NFL city, and then it was my idol was really the coach. So Steve McNair was the quarterback at the time, and that's somebody who I idolized, or somebody who I mimicked my game after, someone who I followed. So it was an easy decision to be able to go with the guy that you have followed your entire, life coming up as a quarterback, and then I'm on the field with him. I'm in the same meeting rooms with him. My locker's right next to his, so it was just an ultimate a dream come true on all ends.
Yeah, all-time great Steve McNair. That's cool to be in the same room as him, same team, same field. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Later on that same year, you were signed by the Steelers, and you got to play some NFL Europe ball for the Cologne Centurions. What was that experience like, playing over there?
It was awesome. I mean, you look at, I'm a guy that's, with being an Army brat, I've traveled all over. But this enabled me to get to Europe. And, that league was an awesome league. I really wish that they still had their league, because it gave a lot of people a springboard to either start their career, like your John Kitnas and your Kurt Warners and your Shane Boyds. And it allowed guys to continue to get better at their craft with playing against all NFL talent, because everybody on every team was NFL caliber players, along with being coached by all NFL coaches. So that was an awesome time. Being able to travel from city to city, I was based out of Cologne, but going to Berlin, going to Amsterdam, going to all these places that Ryan and all these places over in Europe, being able to see the Berlin Wall and see the cathedrals and see all this history that you just, read about or was taught in school coming up in America, but actually being there was just an amazing experience. On top of playing ball, it was a great time playing ball. The guys I played with, the coaches that coached me over there, then I was able to really was a springboard to extend my NFL career, because at that point, I wasn't with the Titans long, but I was able to play and people see me playing against NFL caliber talent, because I didn't get a whole lot of playing time while I was at Kentucky, splitting time with Jared and then him getting the majority of the snaps a couple of my years. I hadn't played the position a whole lot at, the top level. So it was a great time. I wound up breaking some of John Kitna's records and some records that I still hold to this day. And obviously I'm going to hold for eternity, because the league is no more. So that's pretty cool. But It was an awesome experience all around, and then I was able to come right back as soon as the season was over. And I went right back into camp with the Steelers, had an amazing camp, and then I wound up getting signed with the Cardinals and playing under Denny Green, and I wound up meeting up with Kurt Warner, who was a ex-NFL Europe quarterback as well.
Yeah, speaking of that, you're NFL Europe's all-time leading rushing quarterback. You passed John Kitna's record, 339 yards. That's real cool. And then you come out of that, with the Steelers and then the Cardinals, and then the Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts. Can you tell me what those experiences were like playing for those teams? You already mentioned Denny Green. That's got to be awesome to play for him. What was it like with those teams?
I would say, like, when I really look on my entire NFL career, the teams that I really associate myself with are, the Titans, because that was my first snap as an NFL player. Obviously that's when your dream has been completed.
Mm-hmm.
But my relationships were really when I played with the Texans, because I was there the longest, and with the Cardinals. So those two teams are really who I associate with. Those are the teams that I still have my lifelong friendships that I developed with. So those are the teams that I really am connected to. I've been going to the homecomings at the Texans. I think the Cardinals are having their first one this year. I'll attend that one, and then the Titans are having one later on this year. Actually, on my significant other's birthday, so we may be there for that homecoming this year, December 2nd. So those are the teams when I'm obviously as a player, it's hard to cheer for certain teams or players with all the free agencies and jumping around, that type of thing. But when I particularly root for the Texans, I particularly root for the Cardinals and the Titans.
Nice.
Those are teams that I pay attention to. Those are the teams my son is dressed up in and got jerseys of his daddy in and that type of thing. So
Nice.
they were all amazing experiences. Texans was, I would say, was an awesome experience. That was also, really when I think I really became a pro.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to the Cardinals is when I was given a chance by Denny Green to progress. And then when I went to the Texans, that's when I had more responsibility put on me, and I was playing a little bit more and have a little bit more intricate role. So I love it, and I love the city of Houston. The city of Houston is an amazing city. I visit there all the time. If there's a place that I would want to live besides Kentucky, would be Houston.
Nice.
So I'm real connected to those guys. I had a short stint with the Colts. That was an amazing time because I got to back up Peyton Manning for a little bit. So, you do this, that speaks for itself.
Yeah.
So, but I wasn't there that long. But it still is I signed a contract there. I was there just for a little while. So, I have a connection there with them. But I love all the teams, all 5 teams that I was fortunate enough to sign contracts with and get to know guys and just continue to live out your dream. People bust their butts their whole lives to be able to even just sniff the field, and here I was able to play with some of the greats. I was with McNair, I was with Roethlisberger, I was with Kurt Warner, I was with Peyton Manning. You look at the people that I backed up.
Yeah.
I got a Hall of Fame list of quarterbacks that I got to play with, get to know, and learn from. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's got to be a great time. Tell us a little bit about the California Redwoods and the UFL. You scored the first ever UFL touchdown. Is that right? And that was with the California Redwoods?
Yeah, I was able to make history. I tell people I'm a Jeopardy question now, who scored the first touchdown. And actually it was set up for J.P. Lossman, who was a former first-round draft pick. I think he played for the Bills.
Yeah.
So he was scheduled to make the first touchdown, but he wound up fumbling going in to score on the first drive, and then I led our team all the way down and scored the first touchdown. So that was pretty cool. But that's also an extension of the Cardinals, because Denny Green was the head coach. So
nice.
He's the one that trusted me while he was at the Cardinals. And he brought me and wanted me to be his guy, so I came in there, had a great time. And I speak on that league just like I speak on NFL Europe. There's all NFL caliber players, all NFL coaches, some who are still coaching, some who are still playing. So that league spit out a lot of talent, but the league is no more. So, but it was an awesome time. I had a great time playing there, and I still have relationships from that league as well. So it was an awesome time.
Nice, that's cool. Tell me about, you were drafted by the Portland Thunder in 2014 Arena Football League expansion draft, and you've pretty much been in the Arena League really ever since. You know, you bounce around a lot, but you keep showing these guys that, you know, you're worth a spot, and you're worth, you know, they see your work ethic, your leadership, and they keep bringing you in. What would you say is qualities that you're most proud of to show these owners, GMs, and coaches to keep bringing you in?
Oh, one thing I pride myself in is being the hardest worker.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up under a mother who was in the Army 26 years, so she knows how to work. She knows how to prepare. She knows how to be disciplined and to go above and beyond. That's why she retired from the Army with high honors, and she's regarded as, you know, one of the best soldiers, you know, in that's you know, along with all of them that help serve and protect this country. So one thing with me is that I wouldn't say I have the best talent. I do have a strong arm. I do have athleticism, but there are some that have a strong arm, have maybe better athleticism, but there's none that can outwork me, or I won't let nobody, you know, work harder than me if they don't work just as hard as me. I keep my body in shape. I love the game. I love my team. I'm always a great locker room guy. I'm always a pro. You know, I've never been suspended, never been in jail, never had any type of hiccup, especially off of the field, you know, to where a team, a GM, or whoever would worry about, okay, if Shane Boyd comes in here, is going to be a problem. Now, I'm going to be an asset, whether I'm playing or I'm not playing. I always make it a point to just enjoy and show my appreciation to the team, for one, by trusting me to be on the team. Therefore, I do my part. So just the way that I carry myself, the way that I go about my business day in, day out, and able to motivate others is a reason that I think I, you know, continue to get looks and continue to play. And like since my 13th year, you know, and I still, you know, I've been asked to come back and play again. So, you know, I'm looking at 14, 15. As long as I stay healthy, I've been able to stay healthy, and that's a gift from God to play this long, because most don't get this long, especially in our sport, because, you know, you get hurt. It's just part of the game. It's a contact, or it's not a contact. It's a collision sport, so it's part of it. So a lot of guys can't even make it that long because, you know, by that time they've been broke up. So I've been fortunate to stay relatively healthy. My right arm can still throw the ball, so as long as I can drop back and make a good decision, my brain works and my arm works, you know, being the nature of the quarterback position, we're able to play longer just because we're not taking the punishment that, you know, every other position plays. So, you know, it's just been a blessing. The opportunities that God puts on people's hearts to say, hey, we want this guy to be a part of our team, we want to lead our team. And, you know, I just continue to keep playing. I always told myself I'm not going to stop until, you know, I just can't go no more, you know, because once you hang him up, it's done. You can't go back to this sport. You know, after this now, you know, I get the rest of my life to work and have a different career.
Yeah, absolutely. And you definitely, you're talking about some great qualities. I've always heard hard work overcomes talent. You know, if you work hard, there's a lot of people that have, you know, God-given talent, but they don't put their all into it. And the people that work harder can overcome that. And that's great that you have that. And it's great to staying out of trouble off the field. You know, these players, there's a spotlight on you, and you got to watch everything you do. So that's great stuff. And staying healthy, it's one of the best things you can have is your health, especially in football.
Yes, sir. Exactly right.
So you're on the Baltimore Brigade, and your team made it to the Arena Bowl, the Arena League Championship this summer. What was that experience like this year?
It's one you can dream of. I mean, obviously we wasn't fortunate enough to handle our business, close the deal, and bring them a championship. But it was a great time. putting in the work. When you go through a whole season and, you got your ups and downs, and then we come out to have a shot at winning something and cementing yourself in history is always an awesome experience. So a lot of credit goes to the Washington team. They came out, they played, they swung for the fence, and they connected. They had an amazing story themselves. They was on their fourth quarterback and their second head coach. So that was an amazing story for them, in the way that their season went, because it wasn't looking good in any way, shape, or form. But they got hot at the right time, and that's why you love sports. You never know. It's about who's better that day, and that day they played ball. So, but it was an awesome experience, and really what done it for me was that my wife and my son were there to experience it. So it was kind of a different aspect when the game was over. A lot of guys, obviously, you're disappointed because you lost, but I was able to bring my son on the field with me. I still have my pads and stuff on, and we're running around the field. He's playing in the other team's confetti and running around, and he's having a good time, and just put stuff in perspective that, as an athlete and a competitor, you want to win, but that's not what it's all about. It's about the off the field stuff that really that sports helps teach you with life. And I was the happiest guy whether we had won it, but obviously we lost it. I would have been acting the same way because my son was able to be there. He's running around smiling at people, bringing joy in people's lives, and that was always a dream of mine, was to be able to have a child see me play and be able to take some pictures with dad in the uniform. And I was blessed to be able to do that this season with my son coming up as well, who looks to one day maybe be a star herself.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That's a great experience for you. Let's go to some of your peers. I know you've mentioned a few already, but who are some of your favorite teammates that you've had the privilege of playing with?
I would probably, to start off, would have to be Kurt Warner. People, the stories that people hear about him, they're all true. Everything good is true. He's a heck of a competitor. He's a guy that's going to, push you to your limits, but he's a guy that'll give you the shirt off his back. Nice. He's a guy that loves the Lord and loves to help people and be there for people. We text all the time. We share pictures. He's had some grandbabies. He sends, pictures of his family. I send pictures of my family. He's the one that gave me my nickname, Sugar Shane. So there's only a group of people that call me that, but it's because he always called me Sugar.
That's cool.
So it was me, him, and Matt Leinert were the quarterbacks of Arizona at that time. And Matt is a friend of mine as well. He's doing some broadcasting for, I think, Fox or one of those shows. Larry Fitzgerald is a good friend of mine. He's a guy that, I've never met too many people that can work as hard as me. And me and him instantly got that respect. He saw how I carried myself and went about my business. And we work just as hard. We will go back and forth, but who works harder. But he's a guy that have a great relationship. We got a couple guys like Courtney Roby. He came in with me as a rookie, and we actually battled each other in college. He played for University of Indiana, and the Tennessee Titans drafted him in the second or third round, and then me and him became real close. His family and our family are good friends. I call his mom Mama. He calls mine the same. And he wound up having a great career. He played for the Titans his first contract, and then he went to the Saints, and he wound up winning the Super Bowl with the Saints. So he was one of Drew Brees' weapons, and a heck of a special teams guy. And then he was the captain of the team as well. So that speaks on his character. And there's a number of guys, but that right there is just to name a few on the way. Jacoby Jones, guys like that. Me and Jacoby played together at the Texans. So me and him are good friends, and it just goes down the line of guys. Andre Johnson, and usually obviously with me being offense, I got more of a connection with wide receivers and linemen, just because that's who I'm with all the time in running back. So those are just to name a few.
Who would you say were some toughest opponents that you've had to face?
Well, back then, the Steelers were always, that's when they had a stout defense. Anytime you played the Steelers, you were in.
Palomalu and those guys.
Yeah, for a battle. So I played on the Steelers, but also played against them as well. So you got to see the from the inside and the outside, how good they really were. Then back then, it's kind of it flip flops. But back then the Colts had a good defense with Freeney and those guys, but they and those guys running around in the secondary. They had in Mathis, they had a amazing defense back then, and it's kind of switched up since then. But everybody has some monsters on their defense. They wouldn't be playing in the NFL. The record may people think it's not that, but all these guys can line up and tee it up. It's just a matter of if the wins and losses don't add up, then people think that they may not be as good. But no, everybody has talent. Everybody can knock your head off. Everybody knows what they're doing. It's just a matter of putting it together, play after play for 60 minutes, and
That's cool. You've had the privilege of playing with and playing against a lot of greats, and that's a something no one ever can take from you. That's cool as hell. Who would you say? I know you've mentioned Denny Green. Who would you credit? What are some coaches that you would credit with having the biggest impact in your career?
He would probably have to be, as far as the NFL career.
All time.
He's one. Yeah, he's one of the biggest ones, just because he took a chance on me. When I got signed to the Cardinals, I was actually the fourth string quarterback. They had 3 on active roster, and I initially started off on practice squad because that was my second year in the NFL. And that's unheard of. Most, nowadays people only usually have 2, maybe 3, depending on the situation. But here we had 4. So, I'm a big guy on loyalty. I'm a big guy on giving people chances, and he done that. So he has an amazing stamp on my career in the NFL. Now, imagine I ran across some amazing coaches. Craig Johnson, who was my quarterback coach and also the Titans. I still have a relationship with him.
Nice.
And there's just been people throughout my career that were just awesome. Even look at Shanahan, the head coach for the 49ers. He was my quarterback coach and offensive coordinator with the Texans. So I was able to be under his tutelage, and then you see, what he's doing now. And he's a great up and coming coach as well. So I've crossed paths with some amazing ones, and even in college, Hal Mummy with the air raid, being able to throw and learn how to pass under that. Guy Morris, who came in, he was the guy that took a chance on me as well. He started me as a freshman, or redshirt freshman at Kentucky. So he took a chance on me and faced a lot of flack for starting me over Jared Lorenzen that year. And it's just I've had some amazing coaches in my life. I've been blessed.
That's cool. That's great. What's the future hold for you, Shane? You said they're gonna bring you back a couple of years in the Arena League still. That's great. Maybe you can Baltimore can get a championship still. You guys were so close last year. Do you see yourself maybe in the future being a quarterback coach or offensive coordinator down the line, or maybe in the booth, or what do you think the future holds for you?
Actually, I've been, going back and forth with that. I kind of feel like I'm being led to either be a coach in the NCAA or the NFL, or be in the front office of the NCAA and the NFL.
Nice.
Whether that's, starting off maybe scouting in the NFL, and then maybe working my way up, or helping out a college team, moving forward. So it's kind of a toss-up. I know to be in a realm of being able to help kids, being able to shape lives and give opportunities. So that's just what I love to do. I don't really see myself, working a quote-unquote desk type of job. I really want to invest in people and help people achieve their dreams, because I was also a person that I didn't have a lot of help coming up. I had to bump my heads a lot. I had some people in my life who did love and care for me. I did have that, but for the most part, I had to learn on the run, and I've learned a lot. So now I'm able to pass that on to other guys. And I'm a quarterback coach now. I do a lot of individual work on the middle school, high school, and NFL level. I've helped some guys, and so that's just something I enjoy doing. I don't know where God leads me. I also have my significant other. She's a 11-year WNBA veteran.
Oh, okay.
So she has some amazing opportunities with coaching in the NCAA, or maybe one day working in the NBA office, and maybe following in the steps of Becky Hammonds and some of these women who are starting to make their stakes in the NBA coaching. So whether she where her career takes her, we'll kind of have to balance that out, with having a son now and being a family. So it's kind of a toss-up right now. It's like it's one of those things where we got a lot going on, but nothing going on at the same time. So it's a matter of, picking and choosing, and basically a race to who gets the better job, in a sense, first. But, I'll ultimately, take over that. And, she went to Duke, so she's a sharp cookie. And she graduated to be and getting her master's, and to be a principal teacher type thing. She loves kids, so she'll be able to maybe one day be a principal and just teach our kids all the educational things that they need to know to succeed in life.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be cool. I just want to say, as I think players get a lot of a lot of shit from fans sometimes. Fans are often side with teams or ownership or stuff like that. And I just want to say that putting 13 years so far into the league, going on 14 and 15, you can tell that you love the game and you put your all into the game. And speaking for fans, around the country, we really appreciate that. I appreciate you giving your all, putting your body on the line, being in the spotlight, and putting yourself on the line for, at the end of the day, it's entertainment, and it's something that I think a lot of people take for granted, that players risk so much to go out there and play every week.
That means a lot, and for guys who really appreciate just what you said, a lot of the times we don't really play for us. This is me speaking, but we don't play for us. We play for the guys. I play for my teammates in high school who couldn't go on to college, and then the very few that came out of my city that were able to go to college and then make it to the pros. I put my all into it, not for the selfish benefits that just naturally come with it, but for the people who really love the game, that for whatever reason, from physical, mental, emotional, financial, whatever it may be, were not allowed or given that opportunity to play, that can respect, like you just said, and your view on it, that's why you want to play.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about, personal accolades and that. It's about giving people hope, because the reason I love sports is because sports teaches you life, from the ups and downs, from getting bad calls to getting favorable calls, to winning, to losing, to the social side of it, to the all the aspects of it. It teaches you life. So that's why I love being around it. That's why I love staying involved with it. And I know once I do hang the cleats up, I will feel very confident about moving forward in life and being able to continue to establish myself and help people around me. So, for people like you and the people who do appreciate it, that's the reason why we play, and we thank you. We thank y'all.
Yeah, and thank you for giving us entertainment and getting to see great football all the time. And it's a blessing. It's a nice escape from reality to be able to watch some football and get away from it all. And really appreciate that. And I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come on. And it was great having you on for an interview. And thanks so much for your time. You're welcome on, anytime. If you want to come on again later at any point, you're welcome on, and we really appreciate you.
I appreciate you, Alex. Thanks for having me once again, man.
Thanks. That's Shane Boyd. quarterback for the Baltimore Brigade, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you play some next year. And great interview, Shane, and thanks for coming on, and we'll catch you later.
I appreciate you again, man. Talk to you soon.
Yep, see ya.
All right, man.
All right, that'll do it for this week's podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, and have a great one, guys. Peace out.